to give you the representation for everybody, we have got the Rakan first pick, and then the Leona Misfortune on the opposing team. Leona, one of those picks that's very good into Rakan in itself, but also is a good answer into the Misfortune. So like to see that one paired with it, as we do get the Hecarim now, and the Aphelios picked up for the Paladins.
So the Aphelios, something we've seen plenty of at the World Championships. It was probably in the A tier for the champs over there. Hecarim, something we've not been seeing quite so much of recently, of course, is one of those champions that can be quite easily paired up with Predator, which has a huge power spike at the moment. We'll see whether or not that is going to be the keystone opted into that by that pro. Viego is going to be the jungle response coming in for True Invis.
Okay, so part of the logic behind the Viego is True Invis is quite good on it, but also you let the Hecarim run into you, burst out with that kind of Predator speed that they're likely to have, and then you kind of win the extended skirmish. And if you do ever get to punish the Hecarim when they dive in, then suddenly you can take that Hecarim and counter dive quite effectively, because all Viego really needs from one of these body snatches is to be able to get into the opposition, because normally when they kill a frontliner, they just want to use that to engage further themselves.
Okay, well, we are into that second phase of bans. LeBlanc taken away by Portsmouth Paladins, but not before. There shall be no Stan United this time. Shen taken out by, of course, DMUT1.
And I like that Shen ban because the Hecarim itself has always struggled to be a primary initiator unless it has the Shen with it, because you do not have the actual HP to be able to effectively dive in and survive. When you're against things like the Leona and the Viego like we were talking about there, that's a lot of damage you're running into, a lot of crowd control that can lock you up. As Rakan is with them, that's another secondary engager. Neither of these two like to be first one in, so I'm imagining we may see a potential extra engage tool like a Malphite or something coming out from Flag later on.
The second ban that came out of DMUT1 was the Zed, a champion which I'm sure most people are no stranger to seeing banned away in solo queue games all the time. Of course, one of the changes to that recently is with the jungle changes. Zed has actually been more high prioritized as a jungler. With the Hecarim already picked up, it feels like that ban was still targeted towards the mid laner Goril. The final ban coming out, poked towards Samjay, is going to be the Syndra, with Syndra and LeBlanc both banned away. The Zoe Hover is what we're looking at the moment, and it is indeed going to be locked in at the last second. It's Twisted Fate. That's why we don't talk about hovers, Melvin Izzle.
That would, to be fair, when it gets down to the 0-second mark, it always
0
feels
seconds to 5
understandable.
seconds. Yeah, I think that's acceptable.
That's just the League of Legends clan, and I would expect something like the Silas to come out. Very good answer into the Twisted Fate, being able to match the global and then get additional value by stealing other ultimates like the Solar Flare or the potential Bullet Time. I'm expecting that one to be the case. If not, I'm not actually sure what kind of mage they're taking the alternate. Yeah, makes sense. When we're taking a look at Girl's kind of style, these very flashy playmaker champions seem to be what they're all about. So the fact you get that and get a lane counter pick is going to be pretty good.
I'm struggling to remember the exact game in question, but I believe it was on the first day of group stages at Worlds that we really saw the Twisted Fate versus Silas matchup. I think we saw about 2, maybe 3 times on the same day, and it just felt like Silas did everything Twisted Fate did, but better if the kind of the hijack came in at the right moment. If, however, you're not on the ball with that and you're not pulling sort of not pulling the plug, but if you're not pulling the trigger in this particular instance at the right time, then you can be sort of left standing in the dust by the Twisted Fate. The Gwen is going to be the lock-in for Flag 7-7 up on the top side. They're going to have to play into Bootsy's Darius.
Okay, I like that in kind of just the take it to them in the lane and be able to skirmish with them as soon as the game gets started. Because Gwen is one of those champions that if you let it scale, kind of just solos out the game. It's got that Fiora potential where you can just watch them 1v9 as you go late, especially when you're against things like the Twisted Fate and the Misfortune, who have an effective range by which they can actually do things. Even the Solar Flare from this Leona isn't going to be able to lock them up in some of these fights, so I really like taking the Darius and just opting for the kill them as soon as possible, so then we could snowball onto the rest of the fight.
Okay, we'll get into the first game very, very shortly. We just have to remake the lobby, change over that proxy pick. Remember the Lulu becoming a Leona. As soon as those things are done, we'll have that small little delay that we always have to deal with. We get the little bit of Greyheart Melvin is all podcast time, and then we're going to bring you into the first game of this series. It's a game that is brought to you by our fantastic sponsors, so a massive shout out to, of course, SteelSeries. They are an award-winning gaming gear. You can get a Prime student discount on that, and Intel, it is a Intel 12th gen that is bringing you you this fantastic broadcast. So a huge thank you to our sponsors and to our terrific production team as well. A lot of work going on behind the scenes to make all of this happen. And of course, a huge thank you to you, Melvin Izzle, for putting up with me. No, Mary, he'd had enough of Greyheart being mean to him on stream. So you're filling those shoes. I'm sure you'll do a most able job of it.
I've not felt like I've been personally attacked just yet, so I'm
Give it
doing
time.
pretty
Give it
swell
time.
so far. I'm aware that this is just the first game, and you know what? Not even into the game yet, so I'm just taking every second as a blessing at the moment.
It is an absolute blessing to have you here. This is, not the first time we've got to work together on these NUEL broadcasts. It's been so strange that we've only been able to do remote broadcasts for so long with the NUEL. It feels like things are starting to finally open up a little bit more with sort of the state of the world. And to all of you out there in Twitch chat, I hope things are going well for you. I know it's been a rough couple of years for everyone, myself included, but hopefully we are starting to pass through the worst of it. And I do wish you absolutely all the best out there. Coming back into this pick and ban, just going to speed through those bans exactly as they were before. The picks are coming through. We know the compositions and what they're going to be, Callum. Is there a particular side that you favour? If we turn off the nameplates, we don't talk about what we know of the individual player's skill, and we talk just purely draft-wise, is there someone who spent those draft bucks better?
I think that it's kind of hard to turn off the nameplates in the current meta because a lot of the matchups get swung just by individual, just skill checking in lane. But I will say this time, I slightly favour DMU's side.
Oh,
I was trying to just cover up the names as I was doing it because I actually forgot which side was which. So I was just looking at raw comp, and I think that the Darius really does shift it a bit for me because you have so many champions that want to dive in, but most importantly, the Rakan can actually be cancelled out by the Darius pull. So it's something that I'm really worried about seeing if Balthazar can actually get into these fights or if they're going to get denied and bursted before they get to engage.
so I know this is probably, if I'm wrong, going to bring out, huge chance of Boomer Greyheart in the chat. But am I having a complete mental blank here? Or was it Fiora last time that was locked in for
It
flag?
was definitely Gwen, so we may have just
There we
not
go.
got a message about that. No, you are correct. I may have to change my tune slightly, as the Fiora does offer a similar kind of super scaling, as I'm really glad now I actually compared the Gwen to the Fiora for that purpose.
Beautiful.
Slightly different in principle, but you do have things like the gold card. Viego's got a very telegraphed stun. Leona, it's Leona. You can always see when it's coming to get you. So it's realistically just the Darius pull that you won't get reliable parries on. So I do like this potential scaling in the side lane. My issue is similar thing to the Gwen. You have the potential for Bootsy to just dominate you in lane, especially if you don't get jungle protection, which Hecarim is not the best offering.
It's quite interesting when you see two solo laners left to be picked, and then of course you're on Rev's side, you've got to lock in one of them, you've got to show some of your hand before then getting yourself one counter pick as well. Of course, in this particular instance, with the Syndra, with the it was the LeBlanc as well, banned away from Samjay. Samjay goes, okay, Twisted Fate, perfectly comfortable with this one. We then, in response, see the Silas, which we both completely expected to see locked in. It was indeed by Gorel. This then, of course, meant that Flagged was in the position where they had to show their champion blind. And even though we saw it as Gwen, we know the captains will have been in touch with each other, let them know about the proxy picks. Bootsy would have been 100% aware that they're going to the Fiora. They have opted into this Darius, and I'm very fascinated to see how this top lane matchup plays out.
It's a confidence matchup right there because it's one of those ones where if it goes poorly, it goes very poorly both ways in the top lane. But let's talk about a bit of the rest of the map, and I think to bring it back to that Twisted Fate that you just mentioned, when you lock in the TF, especially when you know the Silas counter is on its way, you have to be extremely confident in everybody else on your team because you do not get to solo carry that. You need to have reliable people. Soxu absolutely is going to be able to fill those shoes. We have True Invis on the Viego, makes sense when you compare those two together. And then it helps swing this Darius matchup in the top lane. Being able to tilt it in your favor before the Silas can get up there is what they're planning to do, but we'll have to see if they can actually get it done in practice.
Okay, we are very, very close to being able to get this game onto the Rift, to get the first game of our broadcast for Winter 2021 started here in the League of Legends tournament for the NUEL. Of course, this is not the first week of this Swiss bracket. Plenty of games have been played, each of the teams having played 7 games apiece. DMUT1 currently rocking that 5-2 scoreline, and judging by the fact we're running a Swiss bracket, I imagine that Portsmouth Paladins are running the same, or at least very, very similar. One of the things that we have slightly different this year is that we've had a slightly weighted seeding based on previous teams and their past performances. Some teams coming in with an additional 2 wins just to split some of the prior behemoths away from some of the new flounders coming in. And it does mean that as a result, DMUT1, they're actually running a 7-2 scoreline. So that's something that's definitely playing in their favor. They're right up there in that top 10 or so. It's the top 8 that are going to automatically qualify for Varsity at the end of the next 2 weeks' play.
And then it is the follow-up 8 after that we will likely be following that will then be competing for those last spots into the Varsity for spring, which is so important because if you can make your way up there, then that is what you're realistically going for. That is the creme de la creme. And out of the teams we were speaking to today, 2 of them said we expect to get first. Funnily enough, that's not possible for 2 teams to get first in Varsity, so we have got a lot of confident people coming into this split. As this game, I feel like it has all the material so far to deliver. I'm just hoping we get the same thing in the gameplay and it isn't a complete wash. These drafts, very competitive both ways. We've seen it multiple times at Worlds with that Aphelios being able to just solo carry games. I'm excited to see if they could do it into this one because in reality, it's only realistically the misfortune that's scaring me for them.
Okay. That's interesting to say. So yeah, obviously there's the potential for a 200-year Moonlight Vigil just to absolutely obliterate an enemy composition, especially when there are so many squishy carry targets that you can lock onto. But I don't think it's fair to talk about champions that scare me without talking a little bit about Viego and exactly what they can do. They've got the ability to get the resets, to steal away enemy abilities as well. So much that could potentially happen here if the kills come through and those kills and assists are coming in the right order for true invis. I think this is going to be a fantastically close game. I'd be interested to read in Twitch chat, have a little look and see who everyone is cheering for, who they're predicting to take the win. Remember, it's Portsmouth Paladins on blue side. It is DMUT1 on red coming into this first game. And just to rewind very, very briefly to what you were saying, Callum, in regards to how, no, you can't have 2 teams finishing up in first, but it would be exceptionally important to finish in that top 8, or at the very least in the secondary position, those 9th to 16th. We have so much to play for here, an incredible prize pool here at the NUEL for this competition. Also, when you get towards Varsity, the prize pool becomes even more incredible. The NUEL has given out so many money can't buy prizes along with actual cash prizes as well, that it is absolutely worth being at the top of the tree come the end of this tournament. So that's absolutely what these teams are playing for.
Things like trips to Worlds as well, that's one that really does stick with me. It's just something that's so iconic. Getting to see, obviously this year, unfortunately, weren't able to have live audiences, but just the concept of getting to see something like what we got for this World Finals in person is just almost life-changing for all those experiences to get to have. And it is all brought to you by the NUEL, and we are so thankful for having us here over and over again. And like you said earlier, putting up with us. Oh no. Did they stop putting up with Stan? I think that his cam's just disappeared. I hope I'm not alone. Wow, that was poorly timed. If so, I've never caster cursed my other caster before. That's new. Oh well. So, I suppose this is my show now, and we're going to be talking about the Portsmouth Paladins. We do have them against DMUT1, as Samjay has opted to go for the Predator on the Twisted Fate. They told us that they were waiting to play Predator Champions, and you know what? They are putting on their Showmaker shoes for this one, and they're going to be looking to roam towards these side lanes like we were discussing. On the subject of roaming, we do have the Ghost coming out from Darius for Boodsy in the top lane, as then we take a look across the rest of the map. Anything else super noteworthy? Oh, it's another Predator, everybody, from that Pro 2000. I'm sure everybody that is currently up to date with the game and been playing on recent patches knows how oppressive this can be, and it's something that just the ingenious hunter buffs makes it really, really overbearing.
Can I just check in with yourself and with production
I hear you.
as to what time we're at, because I think I dropped out there during the load screen. There was all too many things going on the computer. I'm currently at 28 seconds. How's everyone else doing?
I am currently at 46.
Let me see if I can bring it up to that.
8, 9, 50.
So I'm at 54. Is that right with you?
At 59, but I think if we
just
can
ahead.
potentially get production to pause at like 120, we can all sync up together and then
That would be
can
fantastic.
make sure everybody is in the same spot.
All right, I will pause when I get to 120, and hopefully we can all do that. And I'll have the wonderful little voice in my ear that I have been assured is a real person and not just me hearing voices. I am indeed paused at 120, so good to go when everyone says okay. Thanks very much for that. Thanks for bearing with us out there in Twitch chat. I hear we have had a points prediction as to who's going to win, so best of luck getting yourself some extra channel points. Apologies for missing out what I'm sure was fascinating insight during our loading screen there. Seeing some of the vision being cleared out, early Oracle's lens for Balthazar, and it is going to be a red side start for both junglers.
And it's one of those ones that means that you're just going to typically go for a full clear, opt for the Krugs, and then just move through. Neither of these junglers realistically want to be scrapping in the early few levels, and in reality, I think that I'm going to prefer the odds for that Pro 2000 here, just because they're going to be pathing up to this very swingy lane. When you're against a top laner who's not running the teleport, impacting this early has way more effect than otherwise.
I'm just... Again, getting freezes with my game at the moment. Don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yeah, no, I'm getting that too. I think that's just the standard spectator client.
Oh, okay. I'm currently frozen at 2 minutes and 6, so hopefully that's not going to cause any problems. Are you going again?
Yep, I'm at 2, 10, 11. Oh boy,
Perfect.
Don't we love the client, everybody?
Oh, it's just the best, but still, it's great to be bringing these games, and hopefully we'll have minimal issues. It wouldn't quite be a NUEL broadcast if we didn't have a pause or something going on, but I'll certainly take my fair share of the blame on this one.
So, we do have, I'm just going to throw out there, that Pro's actually doubled back down to the bot lane after taking just the red and the Krugs, and this is not a gank window you're expecting.
Well, already Rakan has gone in. Soksu looking like they might be in a little bit of danger. Zenith Blade is going to catch, and it is going to be Leosha trying to step themselves out to safety, getting a crucial stun on Balthazar. It does look like all that's going to happen is going to be the 2 summoners burnt from Soksu. Bit of damage, even being traded back onto the pony as they run away.
And I don't think this pony's going to be getting out here.
Pony is in a lot of trouble. The flash, the stun, the shield of Daybreak. Not even available yet for Leosha, my queen, but First Blood has come in, and it is that man, Sanjay, who secures the first of their 1,046 kills this game.
So you know what I said about there being the potential for a super swingy early game here, and I really didn't want... Well, it's happened now. We've had it. The Hecarim went for a cheesy bot lane gank. If it works, it swings the matchup exponentially.
Meanwhile, though, Zenith Blade is going to connect Knockout back onto the Misfortune, but Leosha, my queen, putting so much damage onto the Aphelios. Liger's now having to burn the flash as well. Up until that point, there was a summoner advantage for bot side. Portsmouth, no longer.
And this is really scary. If the Misfortune manages to get a single Q off onto a minion, it will kill definitely Ligers, and it could even kill the Rakan if they get another bit more chunking down on them. So this is a very scary lane state to be stabbing in.
Soksu trying to double up on their existing KDA, which is already looking pretty nice. Of course, it was Samjay who was the recipient of all that extra gold. We'll see if they're able to put that into some nice Predator roams yet again, coming further and further into this game. Now, it is going to be our first gank in towards mid. True Invis finding the stun on to Garl, who trades back, finds some Kingslayer healing, and that's enough to get them to safety.
And part of the reason why Predator has proved to be so strong is not just because of the extremely low cooldown now.
And there's a bit of aggression up in topside. Bootsy not getting the best of this trade. Completely caught out by the minions, and Flag 777 finds a straight out solo kill. Meanwhile, Flag is in a lot of trouble as the Zenith Blade connects, and it is going to make it rain, finding the kill for Soksu. Meanwhile, Gorl and that are just trying to do everything they can in topside. Hecarim is going to be chasing down Samjay. Is going to have the support of Gorl on the Silas should they want it, but with one last card flying through the head of Silas, that's the end of that. It's a 1-0 in favour of the team that had been behind, Portsmouth Paladins.
The fact that DMU are still up in goal, but they do end up losing out on the top side, is something that does offer its own potential win condition, provided that the Aphelios is not put super far behind, and they're still able to safely wave clear in the mid lane. Then Fiora is a win condition all of their own on the side lane.
It's going to be really, really tough now for the Darius to deal with that one. We'll probably need some help from True Invis as things go. You talked earlier on about how both of these champions in this skill matchup can affect the game and can really take things over. It feels like they do it in different ways. Fiora known as that beast of a split pusher, whereas Darius just becomes unstoppable in team fights.
And their ability to just farm off of things like the Hecarim diving in, the Rakan that wants to jump in, even the Silas to an extent, these are all champions that they can reliably get multiple procs of the passive off, and if they ever get up to those 5 stacks, then the ability to just go for the full resets and, most importantly, set up for True Invis is immense.
It is indeed. An aggression coming through again. The challenge issued on the Bootsy. One more tag will be enough for Flag to find the healing. Bootsy trying to respond. Hasn't got the ultimate themselves. One last rip-off from Flag 777. Bootsy opting into the ghost, not having the teleport, now in a huge amount of danger underneath their own turret. They made level 6 like yesterday.
And the thing is, this Silas is going to hit the level 6 soon. They could steal the Destiny and look to roam with it.
That could be very, very, very dangerous for top side, but meanwhile on bot side, yet again, Zenith connecting on Lides, who is again taken down below 50% health. They have got the support of Hecarim. Meanwhile, we have got the Viego just sneaking away a dragon under the very nose of the opposition. Twisted Fate has roamed down towards bot side, opting into Destiny to look towards Lides rather than helping out the top side. It's going to be the stun. Connecting onto that prone, Hecarim is no more. The same is true for Balthazar as the Rakan is going to be next side. True Invis getting out, using the charge of the now dead Hecarim. The hijack will come through of the onslaught of shadows. The possibility of a goal to use that, but no longer is that the case, for they are slain where they stand. The aggression coming through from the chains of the newly found Silas as they find a reset onto the Aphelios, but are eventually shut down by said Aphelios, courtesy of the turret shot.
DMU's primary carries, this Viego and the Misfortune, extremely accelerated at the end of that play, going nearly be finishing the Divine Sunderer at 7 minutes. They are not far away from that. This is a terrifying game state if you're the Portsmouth Paladins, and top lane is your only shining light.
Yeah, it is very, very rough. We're going to have to see exactly how that Fiora can start turning the game in favour of Portsmouth Paladins, because right now that isn't going to be the case over on bot side. The lethality already starting to be built up for this Misfortune. This is a 2-level advantage, by the way, for Flag 777. Bootsy still hasn't hit Ultima, and they are just flat out dead to the level 7 Fiora. Flagged goes huge.
And you were talking about how they needed the level 6 quite literally yesterday. If they had it in that play, they are still favoured. They could get the execute down. The riposte was used earlier, but not even being close to that level window. This is a... Oh, wait.
Sorry, I'm like, have I cut out again? Or is it just pausing to let me call the kill? And kill it is. True Invis takes this one away from Samjay, picking up another kill on the Viego as Silas dies for the second time in quick succession.
And I do have to wonder, with that play that happened in bot lane, if Goral thought they were going to get the Hecarim ultimate, because while it does display as Hecarim in your, like, next to your champion icon, it's not actually that one. It is always the Heartbreaker.
Okay, that's cool. Good to know. Meanwhile, Soulflare connects on Lagos. The bullet time is thrown down, forcing the flash out of the Aphelios, who with the Chakram is just about able to survive for now, but with Viego potentially looking for a dive, yet again, the bot lane duo from Portsmouth Paladins having to run away most bravely.
We've actually got Samjay opting to go for these Ionian boots first thing. Makes sense when you are just here to roam to side lanes with the Predator too. It's going to make them the ultimate utility bot as Goral. They've taken the Destiny for themselves. I want to see this used to try and counteract the aggression from Soxu. That's a lot of shutdown on them.
There is so much gold that could potentially be had. The question is, how will they get it? Will it be with this Destiny coming through right now? Yes, yes, it will. Goral says, I'll have that bounty. A nom 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 nom. Needed that gold back in the game.
I'm starting to think that we've got a bit more of a game on our hands than we were initially... Oh, gosh, it's going on even more now.
Certainly is. Destiny this time used up topside flash very, very respectfully from Flag 777, who then decides to go aggressive onto Samjay. Riposte away briefly, however, the stun is still going to connect. Has issued the grand challenge onto the Twisted Fate, who's trying to run for safety, but just is finding no safety. Bootsy can do very, very little to help their mid laner. The Twisted already having to run for the hills, but now with the ultimate finally available for Bootsy, it is going to be the kill. Just a little too much greed from Flag 77 this time round.
And now the play rotates over to mid. We've got aggression from the Viego and the Leona.
True Invis looking to make this one work. Zenith yet again catching that E, hitting every time from Leosia, my queen, the artist formerly known as Diadol, making things work yet again. Rakan using the quickness to try and get out of there, but is slain as True Invis picks up their fourth kill of the game, takes on the form of Rakan, does yet more damage. That pro picks up the kill onto Leosia, but it's quickly turned around as Aphelios dies as well. Silas getting the final kill in that exchange onto True Viz, yet more shutdown gold.
Oh, it's a stressful game already, Greyheart. We are 10 minutes in with 17 kills on the board and not much of a lead in it at this point. It's, I would say, mainly the Dragon that's putting in work. And if we take a look at the itemization, is still one Mythic and one Pseudo-Mythic for Soxu picked up.
if you've been watching a lot of Worlds and maybe you've seen some of the slightly more chill games where it's all about macro and build up and you get to see the Nexus explode and you're like sub 20 kills in the entire game, yeah, that's not what we see here at NUEL. We are about bloodbaths. We embrace the fiestas, and right now with 17 kills in less than 11 minutes, we're all about that life.
Oh, that is such a disgusting dive onto the bottom lane.
Sam J comes in, and yet again, death is all that awaits for the Portsmouth Paladins bot lane. They are having the roughest possible times. Soxu, who so regularly is able to carry these games, has that U moves completed, is 5-1-2, 40 CS up on their lane opponent, and looks unstoppable.
And when this game starts to move forward into those grouped up fights, they are going to tear through everybody except for this Fiora is my issue. The one person who offers that carry potential is very rarely going to actually be in range for the Misfortune.
Oh, Bootsy knew exactly what was waiting. Should they step any further, they still take a heap in of damage to the face. They find the Apprehend, but the Grand Challenge yet again issued. Flag 77 decides they don't fancy any of the turret damage this time around. Meanwhile, a second Dragon of the game picked up by True Invis, who have been keeping busy all across the map with ganks and with neutral objectives. Meanwhile, however, that Pro trying to make something work in the mid lane. We're going to see the Hecarim looking for the play. Leoja, my queen, with the stun, going to stop anything damage coming down onto Samson.
And that gets rid of both the Ghost and the Predator from this Hecarim. That is significant. A lot of their playmaking potential hinges on those abilities, and now they're going to rotate up to this top side. Potentially look for the Rift Herald, but the thing is, with True and Viz pathing their way up here, I do not think this is the kind of objective you want to be looking towards.
I said this last week in a different broadcast, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to risk it anyway. But I'll do it in a moment, because that Pro might have found a catch onto Bootsy. Flagged quite a way away, but Goral comes forward. Does miss the potential chains, however, still picks up the kill onto the Darius. More good work being done topside. This is part of the reason why we're not seeing that Herald targeted yet.
Herald is one of those objectives that, when you're in a game like this, you're going to take the turrets just by the amount of action happening, so it loses a lot of its effective value.
That's a fairly good point there. True and Viz waiting in the wings, Balthasar having to be so careful, almost caught out by the dashing Viego. Going back to my broken record ways. Just last week I was talking about, I have to stop again because the fiesta continues. Soxu trying to get the fast boot using the U-moves, getting themselves out to safety, issues the bullet time, puts damage down, flag is no more. Killing spree for Soxu, in goes True Invis, and yet again, only death awaits. It's a triple kill for Soxu. Finally, Rakan able to pick up the kill onto Viego, courtesy of that last turret shot. But even so, it's a big old win in the top side, going over to DMUT1.
And it is only Viego that lets you see shut down by yourself. It's the second time we've now had it in this game itself. And I think that just goes to show how aggressive this game has been so far.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, when you've not had I don't think we've had a single Herald taken, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, and we've still seen one team managing to secure what's going to be 12 out of 15 turret plates, and still just looking for more. Yeah, it's been a frantic game, absolutely. Do I finally get to finish my broken record playing?
Please go for it right now. Here's your 1 point.
This is my moment. So let's talk a moment about who I always call the unsung hero, and then immediately change that around because I sing about them all the time. Leoja, my queen, formerly known as Didol, fantastic player for many a split for DMUT1. They just consistently do work. It feels like every Zenith Blade is connected. The solar flares have been on point. You could argue, yeah, point and click champion, Leona, it's easy to play. Yeah, but you've got to play it effectively. You've got to pick the right moments to go in. And Leoja, my queen, just consistently on the ball. We're seeing even with True Invis, they're going for these dives, they're getting kills, but then they're being shut down by the final turret shot. That happens so rarely to this Leona. Leoja, my queen, just constantly able to play right on the edge of what is possible with this champion.
I want to talk about their itemization. They actually opt to go for the Anathema's chains first here, and I really like that when you're against a team that dives into you but has a lot of members who are really squishy. None of these people that we have for the Portsmouth Paladins are actually tanks. They all die if they get locked up, so being able to remove that tenacity is super significant compared with the TF. Yeah, that was brutal.
That is absolutely disgusting to watch. The damage coming through from Soxu with those 8 kills behind them is absolutely threatening life at every step. The flash having to be burned purely defensively there. Nothing that they could do while stood on that mid lane turret, which no longer stands. Meanwhile, Bootsy taking a lot of damage from Flag, trying to return it. Does manage to find the bleed, but with the grand challenge issued, Flag actually trying to make this one work underneath the turret. The flash away from Bootsy. Maybe it's enough to keep themselves alive. With True Invis closing in, Flag might as well go for the kill, but they got nowhere to go. True Invis is going to secure that kill. Bootsy lives, Flag dies.
Very nicely done by the Darius, and they are basically just denying the one win con that you have from the Portsmouth Paladins. As long as you don't give this Fiora any more kills, as long as you don't let them get access to towers, they realistically lack all win cons now.
It is fairly true, but there is a potential catch coming in. Samjay in this case, walking through the jungle, not going to be safe as we are going to see the Graviton locking them down despite the flash potentially trying to find some kind of pick around that blue buff. However, they were the ones picked off.
Over-aggressive, I think, is the way to call that one right there. Going a bit too far for it, but we do have not really any objectives taken of consequence. We actually get Soxu picking up the bot lane tier 2 tower. A lot more gold into this MF now, who is, I'm pretty sure, quite decisively the gold leader in the game.
Yeah, that's pretty easy to say at this point. And speaking of gold leads, it's 7,000 pre-17 minutes. We've not even looked at the Baron coming close to spawning yet, and even so, such an absolutely enormous lead for some of our prior season champions. Third dragon spawns, third dragon is instantly going to be taken. It looks like Soxu going to solo that one out.
I just pressed X to see what the gold, and it's more of a press F situation. Soxu is 4k up on their lane opponent. 10,000 gold to this Misfortune to 6,000 on the Aphelios. They're just not allowed to play the game.
I want to throw some credit Flag's way as we see all of the stuns connecting onto layers. Of course, they have no flash available. They use the claims, but they're not able to get out of the bullet time. Flash from Balthazar trying to get out to safety, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be, yet again, True Invis securing another kill. The returning bullet time fire from the hijack from goal. Not enough to secure a kill just yet. The couple of stuns connecting under turret, and it is going to be a triple. It's going to be a quadra. It's going to be True Invis eventually giving up their life, but for a worthy cause.
His primary carry doing so well, paired with just the excellent setup coming out here from the rest of their team. Soxu with this Misfortune chunking out everybody so beautifully, and it just means the Viego has that pop-off material for them.
I was just about to give a shout out to Flags, and I'm going to still do it, because when you've got a team that's 10,000 gold behind, but you've still got one of your laners who is up on gold on their lane opposition, it says just how well they've done and how unfortunate to an extent it is that the rest of the map has gone so horrendously against them. And yeah, full kudos to Flag that they've been able to do that, and credit to Portsmouth Paladins that they've kept looking to try and take some fights. Those fights have not been going in their favour, and maybe sometimes the discretion of retreat would have been the actual better side of Valor. However, I still respect that Portsmouth are going for this one, and I do feel like they're going to be one of the teams for us to keep our eyes on as we get near the end of this Swiss split and we get towards seeing who's coming into Varsity.
Is only a best of one at the end of the day. You can't judge the completeness of a team by them, but having those instincts to keep fighting when you are down is important, because all too often when we're casting these kind of games of pretty much any tier, you see teams will just roll over, lose objective, lose objective, lose objective, and just slowly get choked out and not really change anything about the game state. Samjay having a whoopsie Zhonya's right there is going to burn their stopwatch.
As long as they're able to get themselves towards the actual Zhonya's itself sooner rather than later, that won't be the end of the world, and frankly we might see the end of the game before we can see that item completed. And already, you know, things looking a little bit bleak for Portsmouth. Is there a realistic way back into this one for them?
It has to just be a full-on imp from DMU. I don't see a way that you easily get back into this. There is the potential for True Invis to get locked up when they dive in for these resets, and that is a lot of shutdown. My biggest issue, though, is how do you kill Soxu? I don't see a good way, because they are eating a lot of free damage here, but even then they are just untouchable.
They do take a good amount of damage coming in from Lagaz's Canyons on the Aphelios there, and are able to at least do something, but still a turret falls, and now the aggression being thrown in. True Invis managing to find the stun, gold card over the wall, Everfrost, everything connecting as the solar flare. Oh my god, have you heard of a perma-stun? Because that was it right there, Melvin Izzle.
That was brutal. Not allowed to play the game from over the wall. So nicely layered, the CC right there from Samjay and co, holding them up, and it was all from that tagged W off of True Invis, and now they're just going to be rewarded with the Baron Nashor. There is realistically no contest here. Hecarim is your only big swing tool for these kind of fights, and with them down, you have to say that this is going to be just a clean end from DMU at this point.
The timing on that kill was as perfect as the layering of the CC that led to it. It's seen the Baron spawn and that be taken down within 20 seconds of its spawn. That's going to be 5 big old purple buffs going over to DMU T1 as they look to close out this first game of tonight.
And they have the Rift Herald in pocket still for Bootsy. This is how accelerated the game has become. And the biggest issue right now, I feel, the Paladins is not only are you repelling a Baron, not only are you repelling a Baron with a Rift Herald, but also, if you manage to do all that, DMU could just back off and secure the Ocean Soul in a minute's time, which we haven't really had time to talk about, but when you have such constant skirmishes, this is one of the times when Ocean starts to get a bit more priority. The fact that you could give Viego extra health as they are resetting through, the fact that we can have Dido on this Leona be super tanky for an extended period of time, it really just is the final nail in the coffin.
The Ojimo Queen steps forward, an instant retreat comes out of the Silas, who decides, you know what, I don't fancy taking this one on. I think that the Ojimo Queen could have quite easily taken that damage up for as long as they had wanted. There is the Herald being summoned down on bot side. That's going to be a push continued by Bootsy. Potentially with 5 members here mid, this could be the opportunity for Flagged and the rest of their team to get in and try and get down to Sotsu. But we even just saw the ping going on to Sotsu Slash. They know that that's timed, they've timed that well, and it's back up again. They know just how hard it's going to be to kill a Misfortune, who's only died once in this entire game anyway. Herald takes down that inhibitor turret as another inhibitor turret falls in mid. The inhibitor looks like to fall shortly thereafter.
This is likely to be the last dance. They are actually potentially going to be given a chance right here. DMU going to back off, secure that Ocean Soul, and just say that this will be their true win con. They do not need to go for the end here. When you have tools like the Misfortune, you can still siege even without the Baron buff, so it's something that now Portsmouth, if they can somehow steal this objective, which I don't think is going to be possible by the time they get there, then you can see it, but even then, they're just going to be fishing for a fight, because farming up these 2 inhibs will be some gold, but it will not be enough to equalize this catastrophic game state.
I think this is very respectful play coming out of DMU T1. You yourself said, Callum, that pretty much the only way back into this one for Portsmouth Paladins was a big throw from DMU. They decide they don't want to have anything to do with a potential big throw, and so they just quickly go, yep, we take the central objective. We've now got Ocean Soul on top of our Baron buff as well. Use the Herald wisely. We do see Samjay burning that teleport just to quickly start this shove up on top side. This is almost certainly going to be where the focus comes in now for DMU T1 as they look to take down the final couple of structures that remain before those Nexus turrets. And yeah, right now, not DMU, but Portsmouth Paladins, they kind of have to pull the trigger, and unfortunately, they're firing Nerf bullets up against a team that is just packing Tommy guns.
Oral, half HP, not had time to reset from the last play. It's just when you have 2 lanes of supers pouring into your base, you are on a clock, and right now you are pretty much out of time with the 3rd inhib falling. This has got to be it for DMU.
It is looking bleak. Portsmouth Paladins, perhaps they have one last great stand to show, but it's going to have to be something more impressive than they have shown in the last 10 minutes or so. Bullet time already used, doesn't manage to pick up a kill this time. The quickness is good, finds the charm onto multiple members, but Boots in the Oja are able to get away. Rakan is not. 1 kill already secures. It's going to be a second as True Invis finds their 12th of the game. That pro caught out by Soxu, who finds the double kill. Meanwhile, Gold trying to go aggressive onto Samjay, who escapes with a slice bit of health. Ocean Dragon does it work. Soxu finds a triple. Gold, the last individual standing, but Silas will stand with their shackles still well and truly binding down in their own fountain. The Nexus will fall pre-24 minutes, and DMU T1 will be triumphant.
Yeah, DMU's still really good at League of Legends. That's something that I didn't need confirmed, but it's good to get to see it. Very cleanly done, respectfully played, and it was one of those things that from the start of the game, it looked like it was just going to be a sweep, but there was always that prevalence of the top side. The top half of the map was doing really, really well. The solo lanes for the Paladins were pulling through, but it was just not enough. And even as we moved into the mid-game, Bootsy on this Darius managed to get that outplay on the bottom side, where Flagged ended up going down, and it was just all for naught. Cleanly done by DMU. They're going to pick up the win and go for 8-2 now. I think I'm alone again. So, before Greyheart gets back, how are you all doing, Twitch chat?
Oh,
You enjoy that game? Oh, no,
I
he's
hope they
back. Shh.
did. I hope they did because it was a really good game. Can you hear me, Melvin Izzle?
I can now.
Delightful. I apologize for my issues. It seems like jumping into and out of games seems to be disconnecting me from Discord or something along those lines. I'm not entirely sure why that's happening. My apologies to production, who are doing a terrific job outside of my own little flubs. Yeah, what a great game we had.
And my question is, I'm going to ask this one to you, is who's your MVP for that game? Because
Ooh,
there's a lot of good choices for DMU.
you're playing the old switcheroo on me there. You know what? I don't get to give out an MVP very often. I talk about them all the time, and so I'm going to take my one opportunity to give out an MVP and give it to Leosia, my queen. 0119 on the Leona. Early plays, early Zenith blades that secured kills for both True Invis and Soxu. Sam J, Bootsy, obviously all key parts of the team as well. But for me, Leosia, my queen, playmaker extraordinaire. Yeah, brilliant.
Respectful choice. I don't think I could have disagreed for any choice that you decided to opt for there. So, well played to DMU. They will be going up in this Swiss bracket now, as we will have our second game coming up in not too long. As I'm curious, did we get a Twitch prediction for that one? I wonder if people did manage to call that one, because based on the chat select, I would say it was a lot closer than
I think I
initially
saw.
expected.
I think I saw that someone popped 8k points on DNUT1, so I'm guessing they're seeing a
Ooh.
return from that one. We are going to be taking a small break right now. However, we will be back. We've still got 2 more games for tonight's broadcast, so please do stick around. Feel free, however, to use this small break to go and check out some of our fantastic sponsors, either SteelSeries or Intel, making fantastic products, and we are hugely grateful to them for sponsoring these streams, making things happen. We'll catch you after this short break.
At SteelSeries, we make the headsets, mice, and keyboards that the world's best gamers win the most with. And we've been doing it since way back.
Due to continued innovation and product development with leading professional gamers around the world, SteelSeries is the #1 brand for professional gaming gear.
Congratulations, Fu wins it. But Navi to take the grand final 3-1.
A lot's changed since then, but one thing always stays the same: winning. Every pro that picks up a SteelSeries product pushes its limits. That's what makes us push ours. It's up to you how far you go, but whatever you do, go for glory.
with the speakers loud in the radio, playing old Sublime that we stole online, every verse we know. And we hadn't had a clue if we'd make it by noon or even where we'd go. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. We don't need a map, everywhere. The tank said E and we all agree that we're just too broke to fill it back up, so we left your truck on the road with Rome. Then we found a motel with a cigarette smell, so we knew we're close. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. Is where I can find some peace of mind to make my own way. I don't know where I will end up, but I'll find it someday. Keep on searching, engine burning while we're turning it around. But don't get left behind on the road. 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 We play Tupac Sharak and we turn our music up when he raps about hope. We hold our thumbs high and hope someone is kind enough to give us all a ride. And we wouldn't have a clue if we'd make it back to or even where we'd go. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. A Ford stopped on the street, said where you trying to be. We said we don't really care, we'll know it when we're there. We took on down the road, he flipped on his radio. Santeria started slow, so we knew that we were close. Home is where I can find some peace of mind to make my own way. I don't know where I will end up, but I'll find it someday. Keep on searching, engine burning while we're turning it around. But don't get left behind on the road. 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 Home is where I can find some peace of mind to make my own way. I don't know where I will end up, but I'll find it someday. Keep on searching, engine burning while we're turning it around. But don't get left behind on the road. I live 17 floors up, and when it rains I can feel those drops in my window pane. Lets me know that I'm still here. But when the sun comes out I will go outside. When it breaks through clouds I will give a smile. Lets me know that I'm still here. Sometimes I want to run away, to find good times again, to find all my old friends. Good times, I said good times, find my friends again. I said I wanna have good times, good times, find my friends again, and good times, I said good times, find my friends again. I said I wanna have good times, good times, find my friends again, and up, and when I cry I can see this city through my watered eyes. Lets me know that I'm still here. When my eyes clear up I will go outside. I'll imagine friends again, to find all my old friends. Run away, to the nearest place where I'll find all my old friends. Good times, I said good times, find my friends again. I said I wanna have good times, good times, find my friends again. And good times, I said good times, find my friends again. I said I wanna have good times, good times, find my friends again. And times, I said good times, find my friends again. I said I wanna have good times, good times, find my friends again. And good times, I said good times, find my friends again. I said I wanna have good times, good times, find my friends again. And
At SteelSeries, we make the headsets, mice and keyboards that the world's best gamers win the most with. And we've been doing it since way back.
Due to continued innovation and product development with leading professional gamers around the world, SteelSeries is the #1 brand for professional gaming gear.
Congratulations, Fu wins it. The Navi to take the grand final 3-1.
A lot's changed since then, but one thing always stays the same: winning. Every pro that picks up a SteelSeries product pushes its limits. That's what makes us push ours. It's up to you how far you go, but whatever you do, go for glory.
We are back. We're looking towards game 2 here for tonight's Winter Split League of Legends NUEL broadcast. I'm still Stanley Greyheart Barker, and I'm a giant purple screen or a little image because for some reason I'm not able to connect with my webcam right now. But you know who is? It's the wonderful smiling face of Callum Melvin Isle-Isles.
I just want to quickly break character for a moment because I love that we had in the pre-stream discussion that it's just easier for people to process when the play-by-play's on the left. so that you could like see it and it makes sense for like the intro and all that kind of thing. And of course, after we have that discussion, just everything goes down.
Well, everything on my end. So apologies for some internet issues I'm having over here, but thankfully still going to be able to bring you game 2, which should be great fun. And we're going to be following the Ruskin Ravens B team this time. And who are they going up against, Melvin Izzle?
They are against the LSE Leviathans 2. I'm pretty sure that's part of the name, as I'm just getting all the websites and everything opened up. And right now we've got a bit of a mid of the table clash right here. I love what part of the Ruskin Ravens B team, what they were saying, just asking about what their kind of aspirations were. They're here to have fun, and I'm pretty sure that means we're going to have a pretty fun game.
It should be good to see, and it's always nice to get to see some of these teams who maybe we might not get the opportunity to see come varsity, getting to experience some of them on stream. As I said earlier on, if you're out there in Twitch chat and you're maybe playing on one of these NUEL teams and you've not been broadcast before, I can't promise that you're going to get that opportunity, but hey, hit us up, get in our DMs on Twitter or wherever else, and say, you know what, we'd love to be streamed, and we can't make it happen for everyone, but we can certainly try.
I can still remember the first time I ended up on stream when I was playing a NUEL, and it's just such a fun experience. Just having that kind of just almost overseer, it's just a really surreal one, and I'm hoping that everybody we get to cover tonight and every other week gets that same kind of vibe, because it is just one of my favourite parts about the NUEL, is getting to have everybody get that soft pro play experience.
Yeah, that it's certainly great. And actually, speaking about your first times on stream, not your personal first time on stream, but my first opportunity to cast you, I think back, it's one of the very first tournaments I ever cast. You were there playing on a fantastically named team, and it's opportunities like that which I absolutely love as a caster. And it's so great to see players then years later who have either gone to casting or are still playing in the top leagues themselves. Sadly that's not the case for you, Melvin Izzle, but you had a good try.
Yeah. Did I though? I had a try. I definitely had a try. Playing a bit too much Ivan and a bit not enough of anything else. But we do have a lot of reputable players that have moved on from the league and then proceeded to go on to do great things. Kerberos is one that comes to mind, going on to play in loads of academy leagues, that kind of thing. And just looking through, it is a great stepping stone. And if not, it's still just something that's really fun to do playing in NUEL.
It certainly is, and there's loads of opportunities there. Of course, this is our first split, looking towards varsity, and if you're out there new to university, maybe having started up in September as a first year, definitely go out and seek your esports teams and try and get yourself involved. All sorts of games being played, both on NUEL and other competitions as well. It's not just League of Legends, there's all sorts of other stuff, and we bring you broadcasts of a lot of those other games as well. So make sure that you're following this Twitch channel, and pretty much every weekday evening we have got something or another on here, and it's usually absolutely top tier content.
I'm just having a little bit of a chuckle because I'm reading through some of the LSE Leviathans team names, and we got the Oxbridge Reject and I'm Banning Vane and Blue August. I don't know. I just really like it. Just getting to see a lot of these names. You get highs and lows, and this is definitely a high point.
That'll be good fun to get to see in game. Of course, as we come towards the game, we had the opportunity to chat a little bit with some of the players from Ruskin Ravens B coming into game 2 tonight, and interesting to hear some of their feedback. You talked about their expectations. One of my favourite comments that came was from the captain, George GNC, who themselves is a shoutcaster, sort of a connection to this team, and they were saying, you know what, I'm hating in solo queue right now. It's getting bopped by assassins. So I'm interested to see, as we get to pick and ban, do we see some of those bopping assassins taken away?
I would have to imagine so. I'm just quickly talking with the teams, so if you don't mind vamping for just a little bit longer, sorting out for the getting the pick ban ready.
That's absolutely fine. I'm currently just looking like I might be able to get back in time. So if you can hold fire and pick and ban starting for just a couple of minutes, that would be great. And So George NC, as I said, is a shoutcast, someone I've had the delightful opportunity to cast with, especially on FIFA and other games in the past. And seeing them come into this one, they've just started up at university, getting to captain this team, they're really, really excited. It's the sort of opportunity that this NUEL competition provides. And while maybe this won't be a team that makes it towards varsity, they still have the opportunity to compete. Even if you're not in that varsity split, which is what we will mostly be covering come next split, there's still all sorts of competitions going on. They still have prizes. They still have that chance not only to win some of those prizes, but also to have that connection with people in your university. So please do go out, search the opportunities to play in those teams at your respective universities.
Have you seen much of the preseason?
I beg your pardon?
Have you seen much of the preseason stuff, particularly around the
As
dragons
in
and
coming in
these kind of
towards
things?
next season?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, my main focus has gone on towards the 2 new dragons. What are your thoughts about them?
Oh no! Of course, my Discord decides to just blow up as well. We can't have every. Why
Oh
can't
no!
things?
No, Vanessa!
Okay, so I can see the game and you can commentate. So I'll get in your DMs and tell you what's happening, and then you can get the full experience going. I think we've almost managed to put together one full Megazord caster going.
Hey, that's always what it's going to be like with me and you here. And, you know, if it's sort of, you know, like one of those Zords, maybe we'd like have 1 foot and 1 hand at this point.
Yeah, that's not bad. You can you though? I was gonna say you can get a lot done with that, but not necessarily, as we are actually jumping into pick ban right here.
Oh, the
Uh,
worst of timing.
I believe that we did have the potential for proxy picks as that whole discussion was happening, so keep your eyes peeled. Camille, that's a pretty legitimate ban. When you go through, that is one of those champions that top laners and ADCs fear alike. The Warwick, a bit less of a regular one, as we do have that one taken away. Taking a look at the sides of the teams right here, we do have, I believe it is the Ruskins Ravens on the blue side, and then the LSE Leviathans on the red side.
Okay, that's all exceptionally useful. Just checking, can you hear me? Because I'm back on back on the correct necessary tools that we can use, and hopefully, I might even be able to get you a camera sometime in the near future. And can I just say, huge shout out! This is our first League of Legends production with the fantastic Xander, and they're having to put up with all the various complications that are coming from me having little issues, and they're doing an absolutely terrific job. So a huge shout out to them, a massive thank you to them, and to the rest of our production team behind the scenes as well.
Always love to stand production. Casters do love to make it difficult. Most of the time, not on purpose. This is definitely one of those times where we're not trying to make it awkward, but internet does, in fact, be internet as we are flying through these bans, actually. Getting the Lucian, the Mordekaiser taken away. These are individual pocket picks. They're the Lucian. Very prevalent in the meta with that Nami, as we do get, actually, again, a Rakan first pick of all things.
Yeah, I can see it up there, and I don't, to the best of my knowledge, I don't know that that's a proxy pick, so we'll assume that's one thing to come. Got paired up in the last game, unsuccessfully in the end with the Aphelios. We may see something similar. One of the things that we didn't touch on that, of course, can be paired up with is the potential for it to be the Xayah. Certainly won't be paired with an Aphelios now. Xayah is an interesting place, has the opportunity that you can go lethality, or you can potentially go towards the attack speed as well. Which is your preference at the moment?
My general preference is I think that lethality is a bit too niche for it to be value, so I do prefer the attack speed overall. Obviously, it's comp dependent and that kind of thing. The main logic behind the lethality, from what I've been able to glean, is the fact that with the Q, since they are separate projectiles, you can proc Eclipse quite easily. And then the fact that you can get the massive pullback on the feathers has the potential to do a lot of one-shotting, but overall, Crit Xayah, I think that's always just the better way to go.
All right, well, at the moment, we don't know whether that's something we'll be seeing. Perhaps it'll be revealed in the next couple of picks. Over on the other side, however, Nautilus is going to be the champion. Whichever ADC is locked in will need to be dodging away from so much potential CC, and it is going to be the Xayah locked in alongside the Jarvan.
I like the Jarvan when you have already seen enemy champions. I have been a big Jarvan hater throughout Worlds, doing my little pick predictions, saying that every time I see this pick first, it hurts my soul. But now, you have two immobile champions, you have Nautilus, you have Aphelios, they can't get out of there. I'm fine with it. Go for it, camp that bottom lane, team up with the Rakan, and be a nuisance, as we do get the Lee Sin. I'm being told that it's Trundle. That is one of those proxy picks right there.
Okay, well, I have to say, for a moment, I was really excited to see that Jarvan Lee Sin matchup. Felt like I was being taken back to around about seasons 3 to 5, where they had so much dominance in the jungle. But no, even so, Trundle's going to come in, hopefully not going to be trolling their own team with those pillars.
And I think that Trundle is one of those champions that we've seen kind of skirt in and out of the meta for the past year and a half, give or take. And at the moment, they have a lot of good matchups just because of how many AD junglers there are. But the real thing that Trundle lacks, as opposed to things like the Xin Zhao, like the Lee Sin or the Jarvan, is that big team fight impact. If you are not getting a single ultimate on the one tank and then just killing them, Trundle does have the potential to be a bit lacking in some of these skirmishes later on.
I have to be honest, and I may look foolish if I'm misremembering this, but thinking back to the World Finals, and I think it was even Game 5, Was it then that the Trundle was
It was
locked
the
in?
Trundle, Predator Trundle with
And
the yeah.
I honestly, I saw it and I turned around to the friend I was sort of doing a little mini viewing party with and just went, they've thrown this draft. I hate it. And it did a whole lot of nothing. So hopefully that won't be the case this time around.
If we have a disconnect for the moment, so we'll see if we could get everybody back in and get to doing that chat select. But I had a tragic experience with the World Finals. I haven't seen friends for a very long time since all this,
Oh.
COVID and negativeness. So I was like, hey, let's have everybody come around. We can watch. We can all enjoy the World Finals. Because of some train issues, people didn't get there until like 2 hours late. We didn't want to, watch without them. So we paused the stream on YouTube. You could do that. And I think you can see where this is going.
Oh no,
We watch
spoilers.
We get 2.5 games in. It's all going great. The hype is there. And then the stream ends. And for some reason, YouTube's functionality is like, hey, jump to the last second. And we just see EDG lifting the cup as we're 2.5 games in. And 2.5 games in, Damwon had just come back from losing in the first one. And they were looking super dominant. They were. It was like watching the rest of the series with the knowledge EDG are going to win. It's like, how? How does this happen? I can't believe I've been robbed of this feeling.
And full credit to EDG. It was one of the most fascinating Worlds Finals maybe we've ever had, possibly. I think you have to go back to season 5 or so to when we actually had a good Worlds Final. But boy, we had a good one this time.
Yeah, it was the second ever 5-game series, if I recall, only behind that SKT, I believe it was Samsung one, not ROK. So that was that year where there was the ROK series, but it was that one where it went to 5 games. And man, I'm just a bit sour
for you because boy, that was such a terrific experience, and I'm sad you didn't get to experience it in the correct way.
I still loved it. Obviously, it was a great finals, but it's just it always hits different when you're watching a game and knowing the result ahead of schedule. It just kind of takes out of you, which is why I love casting, because you never get to know who's going to win until it's over.
Melvin, just a quick question: are we in a lobby at the moment with pick and bans?
Ooh, I think we might be able to grab you back in here. If you
I am in a position where it seems like the client doesn't want to load, but I might get back into it, and if I do, I'd love to be able to join you. But as always, just having tech issues. What is casting from home without tech issues?
Oh, it
Nice.
always
Nice.
is that way. Yeah, that is just how it be. Very jealous for your recent studio work.
Oh boy, it's always great fun to get to do that, and also the live in person shows like at Lands and the like. It's absolutely delightful, and it's always a treat to get to see everyone at those. But when we don't have those opportunities, something like this is a wonderful substitute to still have going on. So fun fact for those of you who maybe were wondering, and for those of you who weren't, right now on my League of Legends screen, I see unable to connect to the login queue. The platform may be down for maintenance. Check the server status here.
Having that.
Yeah. Follow the guide here. I click the button that says follow the guide here, and it takes me to a page on Riot Support that says the page you are looking for doesn't exist.
Okay.
God, I love it.
We don't love to see that one. Okay. Well, you know what? We may be having some issues, and I feel like why do we get robbed of this? Because I feel like this isn't the first time we've had this happen during a NUEL stream where we've just had everything taken away from us bit by bit. First it was your internet, then it was the game, then it was my internet, and now they just said, actually, client's gone. We'll see. Hopefully we can get things working. It's just a temp issue.
Yes, I very much so hope so. And again, my apologies for it being entirely on me, the somewhat scuffed nature of what you're getting to see there. And for now, we'll stop talking about that and go back to talking about the game at hand. You had a little opportunity to go through some of the champion pools. We won't shout out any individual champion names because obviously the pick ban is still in progress. We don't want to, if someone's in that break decide to pop into stream, don't want to give away anything. Oh yeah, we should suddenly pick or ban this particular champion. But is there anything particular style or anything that you're expecting to come through that you can say without it being particularly spoilerific?
I've actually soft blanked on what was already locked in, so I can't.
So we've got.
I can't inadvertently take it away if I wanted to.
So Zaya, Rakan, Jarvan.
Yes, okay, it's coming back to me now. All right, so
Trundle, Aphelios, and Nautilus the other side, I believe.
All right, with that established, I could definitely see that there are some, not necessarily like super spicy picks, kind of like we were alluded to for the last game, but I like it when games are relatively standard with the comp, but then it's all down to the execution. I think those are my favorite because it's like, okay, you can see both teams got what they wanted. It went well. I've turned to 1 billion pixels by the looks of it. That's cool. Hello,
Oh,
I'm here
man.
to be Picasso.
Oh
What
my
on
god, I'm
earth?
into the League client.
Or is it our birthday? Are we
Oh
actually
my
allowed
gosh.
to talk about League of Legends? As I mean, we lost my face, but we gained the client. I think that's a big old word.
That's a trade I'm going to take. No offense, Melvin. Some offense, Melvin Izzle. Oh my god, this is so wonderful.
What is happening?
Xander,
What is
my friend,
happening today?
you are a saint to deal with this. I have just received all of the messages.
Okay, so
There we go. Fantastic.
I believe we've been told that we're going to have to throw to a bit of a break while the League client just gets working for everybody,
Okay.
just so everybody at home is aware.
Fantastic. All right, we're going to pop to that break. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We will be back for the second game, I hope, very, very soon. See you soon.
loud in the radio, playing old Sublime that we stole online, every verse we know. And we hadn't had a clue if we'd make it by noon or even where we'd go. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. We don't need a map, everywhere. The tank said E and we all agree that we're just too broke. Fill it back up, so we left your truck on the road with Rome. Then we found a motel with a cigarette smell, so we knew we're close. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. Is where I can find some peace of mind to make my own way. I don't know where I will end up, but I'll find it someday. Keep on searching, engine burning while we're turning it around. But don't get left behind on the road. But don't get left behind on the road. Don't get left behind on the road. Don't get left behind on the road. We played Tupac Sharak and we turn our music up when he raps about hope. We hold our thumbs high and hope someone is kind enough to give us all a ride. And we wouldn't have a clue if we'd make it back to or even where we'd go. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. A Ford stopped on the street, said where you trying to be. We said we don't really care, we'll know it when we're there. We took on down the road, he flipped on his radio. Santeria started slow, so we knew that we were close. Home is where I can find some peace of mind to make my own way. I don't know where I will end up, but I'll find it someday. Keep on searching, engine burning while we're turning it around. But don't get left behind on the road. 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 Home is where I can find some peace of mind to make my own way. I don't know where I will end up, but I'll find it someday. Keep on searching, engine burning while we're turning it around. But don't get left behind on the road. I live 17 floors up, and when it rains, I can feel those drops in my window pane. Lets me know.
We are back again. Thank you so much for sticking around. We're able to bring you back straight away into the lobby for Game 2 tonight. We're seeing the Ruskin Ravens B team going up against the LSE Leviathans 2.
Okay, we're back in Champs Select. I feel at
We're not
home
pixelated,
at
Melvin
last.
Izzle. Rejoice!
I'm not. I think, touch wood, benefits of a one desk. Everything's going well so far. We have got the bands coming out, same bands from last time. I believe we're going to get the full remake of the first rotations. So, as we just hesitantly watch through right now, we have got both these teams ready to compete. I know they're both very excited to be on stream, and we are glad to be giving them that opportunity as we do get that Mordekaiser band away. The last one, as I recall, this is everything the same. If we see that Rakan, Kano, Zaya, Jarvan first rotation, I'm sure could get in the same order if teams want to, but otherwise they both know what's coming.
Yeah, I think we do. There may still be the proxy picks coming through. We may have to remake the lobby again. We'll find out as we get to that situation if it occurs. It's been a very difficult road to get this far, and I want to thank each and every one of you out in Twitch chat who has stuck with us all the way, and a big welcome to anyone who is just coming in now. We've still got 2 games to bring tonight, and all being well with the right servers, we will bring you both of those games from this fantastic bit of Swiss Split here at the NUEL League of Legends Winter Split.
And if you've just tuned in right now, you're very lucky. I don't know how you managed to time that one, but good job. You have hopped in right at the opportune moment. We are now fresh material. We've got the second rotation of bans coming through. We've got that Kennen taken away and the Aatrox ban now. Fiora, I believe, is the first one now that is off the new rotation. And taking a look at this, a heavy focus for the top lane. That is going to be a total of, arguably, depending on where you see Warwick as a champion, going to be looking at 7 to 8 kind of bans going up into that role alone, and neither top lane is picked.
It's going to make things a lot harder for Garish as we get towards them. They may find themselves in a blind pick scenario. We may see top lane locked in now by Avoki, and I guess that will decide whether or not Garish has been pinched hard enough or not in terms of the champ pool. This is a player who definitely has the ability to come out and perform. They peaked a few seasons ago with a really high elo, playing a lot of Rise, have switched over to the top lane, and now are going to be doing their thing up there for this Ravens team. The Vex is locked in. I just want to take a moment to talk about how this could be a flex pick, because while Vex is generally associated with the mid lane, and that is most likely where we're going to be seeing this champion, that's not always the case, and it is entirely possible that we could actually see it pushed up to top side, where it has been finding a certain amount of prominence in solo queue.
On the subject of champions that see a lot of prevalence in that top lane, Graves will be the one, even getting several nerfs post and during Worlds. They are still a dominant top lane force. So the Vex could potentially find their way up there, being a mage, and considering Graves is very dash-based, I would pretty feasibly see it. My biggest issue with Vex going up into the top lane, as we do get that Orianna last pick right here, is that they are very susceptible. It's one of the reasons that outside of Zhao, who you don't normally see mages go to the top lane, because if you cannot play them perfectly, things like Jarvan, things like Trundle can come up there and give you an awful time.
A Zhao Hu shout out was not what I was expecting on today's NUEL broadcast, but as a big LPL fanboy, you know I am loving it. There is flex potential here, and we're going to see where the dust settles in just a moment as we see all of these picks swapped around. I do expect to see the Graves going towards topside, but it could be flexed with the Jarvan in jungle. In the same way, I'm expecting to see top lane Malphite, but of course we could always just see a full-on Doing being mid.
I am really loving this Malphite pick when you're against the Orianna and the Graves in particular. It does a lot to them, neither having enough mobility to be able to get away from that unstoppable force. And the potential roams to mid lane here are deadly. If you can get a single piece of CC, Vex has the potential to just lock you up and kill you with that fear. So considering the biggest weakness of the champion is getting that initial tag onto someone, I really like this. I think they've got a super coherent comp coming out here right now. So I want to see if we could get the Ruskin Ravens B team to actually be able to compete with this comp that overall has a lot of good stuff from the LSE Leviathans.
So, Callum, unless we're jumping back about 3 or 4 seasons to, back when you were relevant as a jungler, we're probably not seeing the Nautilus jungle coming in here. We're probably out of LCS order as we look at the LSE team, which is, something that I'm sure that we'll be able to switch around as we get into game. Nice and easy to change that from an observing, spectating point of view. It does mean that we still don't exactly know where all these champions are going to end up lying, and we'll have to look as we get towards the loading screen exactly who's going up against who. It's going to be a fascinating match, though. Let's assume for a moment that it is LCS order, which I do certainly believe it is for Ravens, and that it's going to be Vex mid, Malphite top, Trundle jungle, and of course Aphelios Nautilus in the bot lane. If you look at that as the compositions, which one do you favour?
I think that overall, one of the things that I like to do before I say I favour a comp is I like to talk through it, because a lot of the times I actually beat myself when I say a prediction. I then walk through it. I'm like, actually, I'm wrong. I completely disagree. So looking through at some of these individual matchups, the Trundle does not get as much done in the very early game as the Jarvan can, but if they ever do meet in the jungle, then it is going to be extremely Trundle favoured. So in of itself, that screams to me that we have a lot more potential proactivity from the Ruskin Ravens in this early game. And considering that, I think that when you have good gank setup. Bot lane, you have Rakan, they can zone Xayah, great follow-up CC. Top lane, a bit less so, but in the same way when you're against a Malphite, just be able to get on top of them is all you really need. I quite like what the Ruskin Ravensby team have, but I'm going to say that it's a bit too conditional. The Wombo combo is there, but it's essential. Whereas on the other team, this LSE Leviathan squad, when you have things like the Vex, the Malphite, these are very opportunistic champions that can work reactively. Somebody steps out of position, bam, send in the Malphite, follow up Vex ultimate. That's one person dead. Then you have a very scrappy squadron. This Aphelios, Nautilus, Trundle trio thrives when you have just a scrappy skirmish fight, whereas I think the Ruskin squad is potentially a bit too idealistic.
I won't pretend for a moment that we were the first ones to do it, but a term that myself and Nymera on our cast for the NUEL last year threw around quite a lot by the end of things was ease of execution. And when we look at these teams, ease of execution seems to pretty much be a nice succinct way of saying what you described the LSE Leviathans as there. So I definitely agree with you that they have got the potential to just absolutely bop the Wombo combo, probably easier than even than the Orianna delivery system with the Jarvan. That being said, though, I do love the synergy we get. We get the bot lane duo, the lovers duo there, coming in, Xayah and Rakan pairing up beautifully together. You get that exact combo I just talked about with Orianna, Jarvan coming in as well. If things are executed nicely by the Ravens, they've certainly got the ability to pop off. I think we've got a close game brewing. I'm really excited to see how these two teams perform on the Rift.
And I like that you bring attention to the bot lane because especially in those first 3 levels, Nautilus, not a very good champion, let's be real, unless you get the level 1 skirmish where they get multiple passive procs, get to survive with the aftershock.
It all
You're
makes
not going to
sense
get a
now.
lot done.
Melvin Izzle, it all makes sense. We've got
Go on.
ourselves a new loading screen. They've broken the client by bringing in all of the arcane stuff.
Ah, that's it. Okay,
That's
it was all just
exactly what's
DLC.
It
Okay.
certainly is. I mean, we're not going to talk too much about Arcane because there's going to be people out there who want to watch it and haven't seen it yet. But what are your thoughts about the 3 episodes? I know you've seen all 3 so far.
Okay, well, I'm just going to say watch it. That's it. It's just, I know everybody is saying watch it because it's amazing. They're correct. It is the first time I've ever heard of a piece of content where I have not heard a single dissenting opinion. Not once have I heard somebody go, actually, I don't like it. Like, the worst opinion I've heard is, it was really good. And if that's the worst you get, it's got to be a banger, right?
You know what? I'm with you on this one, and I'll echo your sentiment. If you've not seen Arcane and you're into that sort of thing, then please go out there and check it out. It's well worth the watch, in my personal opinion. And you know what? If you want to talk about Arcane, hit up my DMs. They're always open on Twitter. A lot of people have me on Discord. Drop a message. I love talking about Arcane. It's just one of the shows that for me has been absolutely terrific fun. We had ourselves a small pause in the game, but it looks like we are getting back to normal, seeing the early warding being put down, a lot of safety being secured for both teams.
I'm going to stop you there. Let's pause at 30 seconds. You may have to do a little bit of rewinding just to get back in sync, but this way we can all make sure that we are watching the same thing, because you know what? The client, we love to play on it, but you don't always have to trust it.
I am at 30. I'll wait on a fantastic voice in my ear to let me know when to hit that play button. All right, well, with that, let me introduce you to Summoner's Rift. It's a place where many a fine battle has taken place, many a slaughter has occurred. And this particular game on Summoner's Rift is brought to you by our fantastic sponsors, of course, SteelSeries. They're an award-winning gaming gear, and there's a Prime student discount available for them as well. Intel bringing you this stream as well. 12th gen Intel out there, as we do see the early little bit of gold invested towards a control ward, which is instantly cleared out by Cool Crimes on the Jarvan.
Oh, that's one of the worst things to have when you're the jungler. You don't go for the refillable potion because you're able to clear the jungle without it, and you go for that ward, and it just gets taken away. The only silver lining is the fact that didn't go over to a solo laner, because if you are mid or top lane and you get a ward level 1 as solo XP, you can actually level up to 2 on the first minion wave, so the fact that Jarvan gets it isn't going to have a massive impact. But denying that vision is really important, considering MechGod has actually gone for the red trinket, like you say.
It's going to make things just that little bit harder, potentially, to get the vision down early on. You're losing out more than anything on a potential advantage you would have gained by spending that 75 gold. It's certainly a sad scenario, but I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. We'll see exactly how things pan out later on, though, without having those potions on the Trundle.
And with both junglers starting on the bot side, this is looking to try and influence that mid to top side. And when we take a look at these kind of lane matchups, which one do you want to kick it off with first?
I think I want to talk a little bit about the bot lane, as that's where we're focused right now. But I'm just going to very quickly say to Xander, if you're able to drag on the scoreboard the icons of the champions and pop Malphite up top and Trundle jungle, Vex mid, that would be absolutely delightful.
Okay, so on that subject, for the bottom lane, we haven't actually had the super flex from this level 2 lovers duo. I was expecting to see a lot of potential aggression. It's something that is really easy to set up kills if you ever do get a Rakan knockup, but the thing is, Nautilus, the ability for them to Q and knock you out of it and pull you away from that engage is probably the reason that we haven't seen massive fights happening.
Oh, meanwhile, there is a fight, and it's already going to be Garish, caught by the pillar, has the flash available, decides to burn it, but the immediate follow-up from the jungler from the top laner is going to be enough to see the seismic shard thrown straight into Graves, who is now naught but a corpse.
2 flashes invested, but definitely a big worth in chat right there, with the top minions actually pushing into I'm banning Vayne. This is a dire spot right here for Garish. They need jungle support to be able to come back to this lane, and you can see they're not even investing the teleport because it's just too risky in this cast spot. If you TP up there and Trumble's there, you just die again.
We saw so many bans invested towards that top side, especially from LSE, so it's interesting to see that one paying off in a really, really big way, getting that early kill on to the Graves. Garish is someone who I associate a little bit more with things like Kennen and Gnar. I haven't seen a huge amount of the Graves on their match history. I could be wrong on this one, but perhaps just sort of having to think on their feet a little bit right now.
I think it's one of those ones that it's still strong at the moment. It's not its prime, but it's definitely one that is completely fine to pick up in the meta. But with this Malphite counter pick right here and giving it the early attention, really punishing this pinch champion pool. Nicely done so far. We'll have to see if the LSC Leviathans can keep it rolling, though, as we do have pretty much just a fan out. Both junglers going to the opposite sides. Potential first counter attack here from Ruskin.
Yeah, they've got the opportunity to try and make a play onto the Vex. Of course, a champion that's all about cancelling out mobility, apparently, even though I have certain things I would say about that. They're trying to get away from the flag and drag, but they flash slightly late. They are going to be able to survive this attack, however, as they throw down a little bit of gloom in response.
And I definitely tend to agree with that whole Vex being a dash canceller, because they do struggle against A-Buy that dashes multiple times.
This is the dash coming straight back in, knowing the flash is down, and it is going to be Oxbridge Reject who takes that final auto attack, enhanced as it is from Blue August, and the mid laner has now got going. And meanwhile, we are seeing some interesting trades of kills. I am genuinely confused because on my scoreboard, it says a different number to what it should do.
Okay, that's peculiar. We do still have it 1-1 at the moment to make sure that that one's all together. But
Can I put money on it going to 2-2 at some point?
you know, I'd love to see if that's going to be the case, but I don't think I'm going to be a betting man if...
I want to get my Twitch points on that one.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to disagree with the server considering its current mental state today, but I want to mention the fact that when you're Vex against a control mage, it's awful. Playing these matchups is so annoying because you don't get to cancel any dashes, which means you don't get to reset that Doom and Gloom cooldown, and most importantly, when you do get ganked like that now, by somebody like a Jarvan Orianna, there's basically no way to survive this. If Jarvan gets you of Cataclysm, you're dead 100% of the times here. So Oxbridge Reject is going to have to play this extremely safely and be constantly calling Mech God to come help them out here. Otherwise, there's a really good snowball window for the Ruskin Ravens.
There is, but if you opt into that snowball window, it does mean that Cool Crimes is paying so much attention towards mid lane that maybe this state in bot lane becomes even more unstable than it already is. There's a decent CS advantage being drawn up for the Aphelios, and we know just what that champion can do when it gets ahead. We didn't see in our previous game the Aphelios able to get ahead and put down those massive Moonlight Vigils that we know can be so obscenely destructive that they've garnered so much hatred from the League community for the whole 200 years meme. But right now, it does feel like Evoke's more on course to make that happen.
And when we take a look at both of these junglers, one of the only CCs that Xayah cannot escape from is Terrain. The Trundle and the Jarvan both create this with the Pillar and the Ultimate as the Engage is in top.
That's going to be the unstoppable for straight away. Garish in a huge amount of trouble. Flash just off being on cooldown. And as a result, despite the end of the line damage coming in, it is still going to be Trundle able to secure that kill. One apiece for the top and the jungler on both of these two ganks that have paid off so brilliantly.
Braid going down here onto the blue buff, but Oxbridge Reject is in a really scary position.
Oh my god, I'm going to tell you a funny thing in a minute, but first we've got to focus on Oxbridge Reject. They are in so much trouble that they are dead to rights. Orianna securing this one with the Shockwave.
This is going to snowball into this first Ocean Dragon right here. Yes, you're winning on the top lane, but hey, it's that 2-2 scoreline you bet on.
Oh my god, not only is it a 2-2 scoreline. So, okay, here's what's happening. Here's why I had a 2-2 scoreline before. It wasn't because of a prediction of what ends up being an entirely true state of affairs. However, what's happening in my league client right now is that every kill is registering as 2 kills. For a moment there, it said 4 kills to 2. Now it says 4 kills to 4. Basically, we talked about the Fiesta. We talked about the kills per minute we get in these games. The client's just gone and said, you know what, let's double that. Every kill's worth 2 now.
Oh, I see. It's because we have 2 second teams. We have the Ruskin Ravens B and the LSE Leviathans too, so it's double the action.
Oh my gosh. Oh, double the trouble for sure. Right now, gold lead is non-existent. It is things balanced beautifully out on the Rift as we hit 8 minutes. That Ocean Dragon, of course, was secured by the Ruskin Ravens. They're looking pretty good value for money in terms of their pressure on the map right now.
This is the worst thing I have ever seen. If you're Garish and you press tab when Malphite walks back to lane right here, and you see just Frozen Heart in inventory at 8 minutes, I'm leaving. This game's doomed for you. The Graves does not get to play this lane anymore. Anytime they get into a scrap, it is just going to be scuffed. That's more ultimate ability haste. Oh, the pain.
Okay, from now on, only you're allowed to talk about items, because my items aren't updating at all on my scoreboard. I was like, what Frozen Heart? I only see corrupting potions. Oh my word. No spoilers, but all I'm saying is Heimerdinger was right. This magic power shouldn't be released onto the servers. Meanwhile, Cool Crimes forcing banning Vayne to get themselves out of trouble, but they're able to hold on to their flash.
Really nice setup in the mid lane right there. The Pillar pairing with the Vex. That's slow. Very oppressive as... Okay.
Oh, big old bop in topside. Garish tries to step forward, tries to get some farm. Malphite says, not today.
I know that the whole expression is like, you don't know what the rock is cooking, but when you got a Frozen Heart, like, can you flash freeze food, I think? It's like, what is he preparing for your ready meals, or...
Oh, this is a dangerous scenario, and Cool Crimes probably doesn't even realize it. He's just hovering around in between pretty much everybody, and with that, Scribe's Gloom gonna hit Cool Crimes. They're gonna get caught by a Dredge line next. They try to flash away. They try to find some damage on Oxbridge Redirect, but the Gloom of Vex says no. Blue August is gonna be the second to die. It's gonna be Shutdown Gold going over to Trundle.
And you could see what happens when you don't get those idealistic setups. You don't get the follow-up from the Orianna when you have the Jarvan ult. You just get to try and escape right there. The tools, these pillars, the Malphite ultimates, even the Vex is just so much flexibility to play around. When you have scrappy games, there's just so much more potential to get a lot done. And I'm loving what the LSE Leviathans are doing with it so far.